Storms batter farms across Nebraska and Kansas. Ahead on Grow, we take a look at the damage to fields, pivots, and grain bins. Plus, we chat with Congressman Adrian Smith on trade issues and talk about cover crops. That and so much more straight ahead on Grow. Storms pound south central Nebraska and northern Kansas, hitting fields and rural areas where the damage is still yet to be determined. That's our top story on this episode of NTV's Grow.
In the chicken coop here, the corral here, there was a big red barn there.
The storms that struck this past week seem to hit hardest in rural areas. There are relatively few reports of injuries, something we can all be thankful for. But on individual farmsteads, there's quite a bit of damage.
It took the top of the barn off. It destroyed 3-4 green bins. We had, there's a couple chicken houses that are basically gone. The shed right here, the baler shed, it's gone, and then it tore up the house a little bit.
We've heard stories of farmers helping neighbors and folks from the local grain elevator pitching in as well. There's still work to be done with pivots overturned and debris from those mangled grain bins and barns scattered in fields in those areas hit by those tornadoes and strong winds. Those storms brought a lot of rain too. Flooded fields could now be a problem, especially since planting is so far along. The most recent government report shows around 60% of corn was planted before the recent storms. The average is just 38% complete at this point. So could saturated and flooded soils affect germination and plant viability? Nebraska Extension educators say it certainly could be a problem. Some farmers may be forced to replant. That normally means lower yields, but experts say still reasonable production with no need to necessarily switch to other hybrids or crops. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the crop progress here in Nebraska. Many producers have finished planting corn and have turned their attention to soybeans. As of May 4th, 57% of corn was planted, ahead of 41% last year and 38% on average. 11% of sorghum planted, ahead of 3% last year. Soybeans are just slightly ahead of schedule, and it continues to be a mixed bag for winter wheat. Nebraska farmers and business owners could get a property tax break through a bill advancing through the legislature. Lawmakers gave first-round approval to an exemption for personal business property. The bill would apply to farm equipment such as irrigation pivots, pumps, and motors, and machines used in a factory. It would also allow owners to exempt the first $10,000 worth of property for an average tax savings of $162. The bill would cost the state $19.6 million a year. Also in the legislature, farmers and ranchers who open their land to tourists could be exempt from some lawsuits. It's called the Nebraska Agritourism Promotion Act, and Nebraska senators gave it first-round approval. Ogallala Senator Ken Schill says he introduced it to promote rural tourism and give farmers and ranchers another potential revenue source without the fear of lawsuits. The bill is backed by Farm Bureau, Farmers Union, and tourism officials. Trial lawyers, though, are opposed. In other egg policy news, Nebraska counties that are livestock friendly could receive more funds. A bill cleared a first-round vote in the legislature. It would funnel $1.5 million to counties approved as livestock friendly. Supporters say the measure puts control in the hands of local authorities to seek out the livestock friendly designation and apply for grants. Those funds could be used for planning and improving infrastructure. Nebraska Livestock Sales of Norfolk has suspended summer sales. Jim Barta owns the operation and said because of the declining number of cattle in the area, they are going to go with seasonal sales at the livestock market. Sales recently were cut from 3 days down to 2 days a week. The Bartas own other livestock markets, including ones in Alma, Blue Hill, Erickson, O'Neill, and Tecumseh. Livestock is big business here in Nebraska, and that means meat packing, a big business in Grand Island in particular. Community leaders say they want to support businesses that support livestock. However, some are concerned with plans for a proposed trailer washout location near Donovan. NTV's Sarah Kirkley has our story.
A Fremont business owner needs a conditional use permit to build a truck wash northeast of Donovan, but neighbors have asked the Hall County Board of Supervisors to deny it. The noise of abandoned dumpsters could soon be replaced with the roar of engines once again.
You get in and out easily.
Chad Ruda hopes to build his 5th truck wash out at the former Mid-Nebraska Speedway, but his neighbors have concerns.
We always have odor.
These trucks have got every disease that cattle ever had.
Just environmental hazards in general. I don't know what this will create.
Gene Hoffman worries tired truckers could be a hazard for children getting on and off school buses on Locust Street, that the trucks will be noisy, and of course, the smell.
In Donovan, there's a sewer lagoon that when it turns over and it's highly watched by DDQ, we can smell for a couple days. This is going to be 24/7.
It's really hard to see neighbors that are maybe not totally understanding of what we do, being that they're having some trouble with other issues in Hall County right now. But that's not us. That's not what we do.
Ruda says what he will do is bring a $500,000 payroll to Hall County and an answer to a growing problem.
It becomes more and more people just dumping on the side of the roads.
Ruda says he works closely with DEQ and engineers and brings dollars to the counties where he does business.
What our business does is it brings money from other states to this state, and then we get to spend it in Nebraska.
And county board members seem to want it.
For us to say we don't want it in our county just isn't an option. We've got to have this, and I don't see a reason why this location wouldn't be as good, if not better than most.
Supervisors say this issue will likely come up within the next month after they're able to put some stipulations on this conditional use permit to control any possible odor issues.
A drone large enough to carry tanks of fertilizer and pesticides won rare approval from federal authorities to spray crops in the U.S. Drones are already used to take pictures to help farmers identify unhealthy patches of crops, but this is the first time they'll be able to carry a payload. Sustainability is a bit of a trigger word these days considering egg production. Now the University of Nebraska has teamed up with Field to Market, joining in an alliance to help farmers and ranchers manage resources, increase productivity, and strengthen the bottom line. Field to Market, the Alliance for Sustainable Agriculture, focuses on defining, measuring, and advancing the sustainability of food, fiber, and fuel production. While the government debates beef's place on the menu, cattlemen say it's a clear choice, especially in schools. Dawson County Farm Bureau and cattlemen, along with Tyson Fresh Meats, are donating beef to local schools this month. These egg organizations say they want students to have a healthy and nutritious lunch anchored by beef. This comes as a USDA committee wants to factor sustainable practices into dietary guidelines. Cattlemen say lean meat is dense in nutrients and part of a healthy diet. The Lady Aggies of NCTA take the rodeo title at Hastings. Winning performances in barrel racing and goat tying helped the Nebraska College of Technical Agriculture team win. Lexus Kelsch is leading the Great Plains region of the National Intercollegiate Rodeo Association in barrel racing. And for the 17th year, the National Collegiate Rodeo Finals will be June 14th through the 20th in Casper, Wyoming. Up next, we talk one-on-one with Congressman Adrian Smith. And since it's Mother's Day, how about a shout out to hardworking farm and ranch moms who keep farm families going? Here are some of the photos you sent us.